I'm a womanist theologian. I teach at McAfee, which is a culturally white, even though our population is half and half African American and white, but we are culturally white. I was the first African American woman, first woman of color to be hired there in any capacity. We didn't even have any women of color as staff when I came on in 2012. I was the first. So for me in that setting, it has been very important to me to set a model, because when you're the first, you set the model that everybody else is just judged against. And so it was important for me to be fully and authentically myself, because if I knew that if I wasn't, no black woman coming in after me could be fully and authentically herself, right? She'd forever be trying to live into some statue, some myth, some woman who kind of played the boys' game, and did that. And so I've been very intentional about not doing that, in terms of the way I dress, in terms of the way I wear my hair, in terms of just claiming myself fully so that I can, so that other women can, whether they are faculty or staff or students, that they have that possibility. And so I live in that space, this very mainline, very liberal Protestant space. But I also hang out with a bunch of evangelical social justice types. So I'm on the board of the Christian Community Development Association and do some things with Red Letter Christians and the Justice Conference, and am starting to emerge as a leader for women of color in these spaces. We're actually trying to hold a post-conference retreat for women of color who do this type of work, because we're often very much isolated in these spaces that are overwhelmingly white, overwhelmingly male, and much of our communication is mediated through whites. So it's Asian American women talking to white people, African American women talking to white people, and we weren't talking to each other. And so we've decided, you know what, we need to start talking to each other, and really strengthen our bonds with one another, and so that we can start advocating, because we're having similar experiences. And so that's really what I do, and it strikes me at this point of my life that I have in many ways come full circle in terms of just really riding hard for women of color. I mean, that's what I do in my teaching, because if we don't do it for ourselves, certainly nobody else is going to do it for us. And I have also learned the hard way that it does not matter if you try to be their girl, they can betray you anyway. So, and they will. And so you can play by all the rules, and you can do all the right things, and you can just sell your soul, hide yourself, practically kill yourself from stress-related illness. And the minute you make a slight misstep, the system will turn on you with a vengeance. And so I figure I might as well do me. And at least they know what they're getting, and I know what I get, and I know who I am, and I can be comfortable with that, and that if I kind of burn out in a blaze of glory, then I burn out. But talking about Esther, I say in all these spaces where I am, where I'm always one of the only, to be a womanist among evangelicals, and they don't know what to do with me. you know. And I'm working on a womanist theology of reconciliation, and the publishers are like, we don't even know how our readers would take that. But I have just realized this is my Esther moment, and I'm just going to ride it as long as I possibly can, and do as much as I can in what God has called me to do. And because, for such a time as this.